Today we are looking at the Hoka One One Gaviota 2. So let's talk about the fit. For one thing, this thing is big. Just by looking at it, you can tell it's huge and it feels big. When you put it on right out of the box, it feels wide. That's kind of surprising considering it comes in a wide option, so you'd think the regular would be kind of a normal width, but it's wide. So you either have wide or wider as your options. You don't really have a medium or a narrow. When you compare it to another shoe in its class, you can tell the Hoka is a lot bigger, despite being the same type of shoe and in the same size. Normally, I don't need to use a runner's loop at the top of the shoes. I just lace them normally, but for these shoes, I do, and it makes a difference. The midfoot is almost sloppy. It doesn't hold you well enough, and as a result of the fit more than anything else, there's not enough arch support, but a runner's loop does bring it in and makes a difference. So after a few runs and after fiddling with the laces before, during, and after each of my first few runs, you can get this to fit okay, even if you don't have wide feet. Also, just from looking at it, you can tell it has a lot of cushion. That can be a good thing. If you want a well-cushioned shoe, well, here you go. Have fun. It's got a ton of it. The cushion is also one of the weaknesses of this shoe because it does feel not so lively compared to some other shoes. It doesn't feel like running in sand or running in pillows like this type of shoe would have felt like maybe 10, 15 years ago. There are shoes with a lot more bounce to them than this, and this doesn't spring you forward like other shoes do. So this is somewhere in between running in sand and jumping on a trampoline. This is maybe something like jumping on an old spring mattress that's seen better days. Hoka advertises this as a stability shoe, and kind of. It doesn't tell you what to do, but it does give you a little nudge in the right direction. For me, that's just the right amount of stability. If you need a stability shoe to the point that it controls what you do, you need to look for another shoe. This is not a maximum stability shoe, it's a moderate stability shoe. That said, while it does let you run, the incredible stack height means it's not very agile, and as you're going around corners especially, you've got to slow down. That's especially true if you're ever running on an unpaved surface. Almost all of my runs involve both some pavement and some park trails, some well-groomed, easy trails. But on those trails, you have to back off on this shoe. You can't really run at speed because you slip on any kind of loose surface, and especially in corners with this gigantic stack height, you cannot take the corners like you might want to. And finally, let's talk about looks. First of all, the cardinal sin, white outsoles. Why? Why is this popular? You might not be able to tell so well, but this is white and this is gray, but by now, after not many runs, this white part looks almost the same color as the original gray. Why not make the whole thing gray? Because it's not going to stay white. And even depending on where I've been running lately, you can tell. You can tell if I've been running on trail because it gets more brown. You can tell if I've been running on pavement, it gets more black. And you can tell if I ran on a track because it turns pink. White outsoles need to go the way of the dodo. Also, you might not be able to tell at first glance because you look at it and you go, oh, gray, it's not very colorful. But this thing has no less than 5 colors. It's gray, it's black, it's blue, it's white, including mistakenly on the outsole, and it's also orange. And despite all that, it still manages to look boring. Now, part of that is because gray is just a boring color, but if you look at the other color options for this, they look boring too. All of them were kind of dull colors. A good principle of any design is pick 2, 3 colors maximum and use them well. Don't throw 5 colors on it and go, well, that'll make it exciting. This is good design. It's mostly blue. For the most part, it's just the blue shoes. These are the gray, black, white, blue, orange shoes, and despite all that, it still looks boring. Bright colors are good, but just 1 or 2 bright colors. We also don't need it to look like a disco floor threw up on our shoes. I want to give this 2.5 stars, but at the same time, I realize a lot of the things I complain about it, like a poor fit, not enough arch support, I don't like how it looks, those are personal preferences. If you don't need arch support, if you want a lot of cushion, if you don't care how it looks, if you have wide feet, and if most of your runs are at a light jog kind of pace, this might be a great shoe for you. But for me, it's very flawed. I'm going to keep it in the rotation because it's fine for nice, moderately paced distance runs. After a while, you get used to some of its quirks. The wide fit you can fix with the laces, the huge amount of cushion. These are the most cushion shoes I've ever run in, and it took a while to get used to how to run in them. So this shoe is somewhat of an acquired taste, but even then it's still a flawed shoe. I wouldn't buy them again, I certainly wouldn't pay full price for them, but I'm gonna keep them until I wear them out. I might as well. Final verdict, 3 stars. It's got some flaws, but it still might be great for some people, not for everybody.